Hello groupies, welcome back to Form of Therapy. This is the Culture Study. I'm the channel's video producer. You can call me PD. And today we are checking out 모르겠다고, aka Q, by the band ONEWE featuring Hwasa. For those of you who are new to ONEWE or maybe new to this channel, just a quick recap. I like ONEWE, a brother group of ONEUS, and they are label mates with Hwasa over at Rainbow Bridge Worlds. So ONEUS and ONEWE are they are brother, I guess not brother sister groups, brother groups. ONEUS being the idol group version, ONEWE being the band version, and this is going to be an interesting collaboration to see when we make a song with Hwasa. Not quite sure if 모르겠다고, if this song is a title track, if this is a full-on comeback, if they're going to be promoting with it. If they are promoting with it, question is, will Hwasa be promoting with them? Now, in cases like features for title tracks, which is always a risky thing to do in general, but whenever that does happen, usually the person that's featured on the track is not available to do live stage performances all the time, especially every day of the weekend with the artist. So usually they actually have someone who is more of an up-and-coming artist and could use the exposure and has the free time to do it to feature on those live stages. So I'm very curious. I don't know what Mamamoo has going on right now. Maybe they're on a break and a hiatus, so Hwasa can promote with them, or if they're going to have somebody else promoting with them, or nobody else, and one of them takes over Hwasa's parts. Well, I guess we have to see what Hwasa's part is. So let's just jump right into this. Actually, before we do, I hope everyone is staying safe during this time in quarantine. We're putting out this kind of content not in our usual setup. It's not our usual set, not the usual aesthetic, and I do apologize for that, but unfortunately we are under lockdown. But if you do want to support us, we're over at Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/formatherapy for as little as $2 a month, you get early access to videos like this. You get early access to listening parties. But for a little bit more at higher level tiers, you get live stage reactions, you get variety show reactions, you get drama club, and all sorts of other good stuff. So if you want to check out the fun, it's over on Patreon. We are uploading a lot more content because of the quarantine. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for sticking with us. Let's get into this video. This is 모르겠다고 Q by ONEWE featuring Hwasa, and this is your form of therapy. All right. This is a very common music video set. Ooh, nice. You sing in a very interesting tone. Everyone is singing at a rather monotone level, and it's very interesting. Oh, good lord, her voice is... Wow. Their voices combined during this part is... Because hers is so smooth and his is like... His like definitely has more of a masculine roughness to it. So it's very interesting to see have them overlay onto each other. Wow. The guitar solo is so subtle. Most guitar solos tend to be very overt and extreme and wild, but this isn't that type of song. Okay. 모르겠다고. 모르겠다고 can also sort of translate to I don't know. 모르겠다고. It's also the tone. 몰라요. 몰라 would be I don't know, but 모르겠다고 adds this tone of I don't know. You know? Like you're telling someone that you don't know. Very interesting song. First of all, I don't know how this does financially and both chart-wise for ONEWE. ONEWE, at their core, they are really, really a band. And with their title tracks, they're not subscribing to K-pop standards to promote their title tracks. Like, their title track music sounds like it could be a B-side. In the sense that, like, I feel like there's a certain way you write title tracks, and even other bands, let's say Day6 for example, or The Rose, the way they write their title tracks as opposed to their B-sides are completely different. Title tracks are written to be a little bit more commercial, a little bit more simple, a little bit more catchy, and there's often a very repetitive structure to that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's usually like what you're banking on with title tracks is that people hear it sometimes in passing, or people are watching the music video for the first time, and the catchiness is like an earworm, and it catches on to them, and that's how they get into the band, and then they can discover the B-sides and discover the larger discography that the band has. ONEWE, however, with the few comebacks that they've had since their debut last year, every title track does not feel like a title track. And that does worry me in the sense that, like, ooh, how does this do promotionally? Because it's 50-50. Because, first of all, the international K-pop audience, I don't think is hot on bands yet. You know, Day6 is probably the most popular Korean band out there. But that's not saying a lot, because I feel like Day6, compared to other JYP artists, don't get enough love. Not nearly enough love, in my opinion. I think they deserve all the love, and that's the same with a lot of bands. And I don't think there's any band yet that is at like the same status of like K-pop groups. And so I don't technically know, and I'm not gonna act like I know financially how it works to keep a band afloat, but I have to assume it's not cheap. But at the same time, Korea is very into K-bands, a lot more so than the international market is. And indie music actually does really well in Korea. So indie artists, whether they're a soloist or whether they're a band, like a soloist, like I'm forgetting his name. Okay, never mind. But a band like, let's say, Standing Egg tends to chart well in Korea, or 볼빨간, which 볼빨간 was an indie band that leaned more pop, but still they were pretty indie, and they got more mainstream notoriety. And so I'm wondering if that is sort of the marketing idea behind ONEWE, to keep them at their core, to keep them more of an indie style type of band. Because ONEWE is not, based on the music that they've produced, ONEWE is not a rock band, and ONEWE is not a. They are not a modern rock band, or a ballad rock band. An example of modern rock would be Day Six, The Rose. ONEWE is definitely way more indie, just glammed and glitzed up like a K-pop group, which is very. I wouldn't say just rare. This might be the only band like that on the K-pop scene. Even this song, the structure of this song, it doesn't really lean into the traditional, conventional K-pop nature of like big verse, big pre-chorus build-up, big chorus drop. It's kind of quieter. It's more about the little things, and it kind of blends into each other from verse to pre-chorus to chorus to verse. Like it's almost, if you're not paying attention, there's almost very little differentiation. That's not to say that the song is boring or that it's one note. It's not. But I'm just saying that they flow and meld into each other a lot smoother, and it's a lot velvety. And a lot of that has to do with Hwasa's vocals. And I really like how they utilize this collab with Hwasa. Obviously, they're from the same label, but I'm still impressed that Hwasa is more than just a feature. She because when it comes to features, there are the type of features. There's a couple type of different features. There's the type of feature where they just pop in for the bridge. Very classic rapper feature. Usually, if it's a singer feature, they usually only do ad libs and the chorus. Hwasa here not only does the chorus, she has her own verse. And then she has this very cool section in the second verse where she harmonizes, and then it's almost like he's rapping while she's singing, but they're singing the same lines. They're rapping the same lines, which causes like this interesting texture in the vocals rather than in the instrumental. The instrumental here is very small, and it's very quiet, and it's very gentle. And really what's at display is their vocals, and their vocals really don't kick in until Hwasa kicks in, because their vocals, when it starts out, it's relatively like quiet and monotone, and the whole song is actually very quiet and monotone, and they never really go up anywhere. But I feel like it really, really picks up when Hwasa comes in. But this song, I really, really like it. It's the repetitive nature comes from that line they keep saying, like 다물어가, which is going to, well, I guess it depends on the context of the song, but 다물어가 can mean something like I'm going to get something, or I'm going to gather something, or you know what? Let's, while we're in quarantine, we're in no rush. Why don't we just look up the lyrics for ONEWE? Let's look up Q by ONEWE lyrics. Oh, there's no. No, I typed ONEWE. Hold on. There's only English translations. That's annoying. I would prefer the Korean ones. Okay. I prefer Korean lyrics over the American ones, just because I would rather do the translation in my own head rather than trust somebody else, because a lot of times they're not accurate. Wow. Actually, you guys should take a look at this. This is the album cover for This is the album cover for ONEWE. This album cover alone is very much a K indie style album cover. So if you look at that album cover, very, very K indie style. That is interesting. Very artistic. I don't get it. The calls that come a few minutes late, I don't get it. The expressions you sometimes send, I don't get it. I go to contain your feelings. Our conversations go nowhere. I go to contain your feelings. So that means the lyrics are probably 너 마음을 담으러 가. So 담어 means to gather, or in this case contain. So 너 마음을 담으러 가. I go to contain your feelings. I don't get it. I go to contain your feelings. That seems to be the repetitive part. So I go to contain your feelings. Our conversations go nowhere. The wounds start to heal. I hurriedly go to contain you. I go to contain your feelings. Our conversations go nowhere. The wounds start to heal. I hurriedly go to contain you. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Mm. Okay, so I like this song a lot. I'm not sure how international fans will react, but this is very much in the style of like K indie type stuff. So if you like it, I would suggest that there is a whole plethora of the K indie world that you can get into. I would start personally with Standing Egg. That's always like my go to suggestion. But with ONEWE, the song is really good. Hwasa's feature is amazing, and I think the way they put the songwriting part together, like the actual vocals and the lyrics, it's so interesting. Like I think the instrumental is very simple, and it's meant to be very simple so that the vocals can be more so on showcase here. Because if you got Hwasa, of course the vocals are going to be more on showcase. The music video, not that impressive. Hwasa, I think, kind of urged some beautiful scenes, like the scenes where there's like wood, like that kind of mahogany, that interior, very classy look. That scene looked pretty good, but beyond that, they really only had one set where they were performing, and that tells me that the video was rather low budget. Because they didn't change multiple locations, and that also I don't know if this is a title track. Like this has to be a title track because this can't be just a single. First of all, there's an album, but also this video. There's too much money poured into this video for it to be just a single, but there's not enough money poured in for me to say like this is like this meets the tier of typical K-pop music videos, or even most K-band music videos. I feel like Day Six, The Rose, or IZ, or any other K bands has a little bit more of a production oomph than this. This one, they shot in a relatively very familiar stage. I think Lime Soda shot there. I think Golden Child might have shot like a practice video there. It's a very common location. That was the only backdrop for their performance. Usually there are usually in a music video there are 2 or 3 performance sets that usually dictates the budget of the video. And if you ever want to cut down on costs for a video, you only have one performance set, and they only had one performance set. But I think they kept it interesting enough. I think a lot of money was more put into trying to make Hwasa look good. Obviously, because Hwasa is the big name here, and Hwasa is a big feature. And I think, the motivation is also hopefully that with Hwasa's feature, they also get more notoriety, more attention. So they made her scenes look really good. She had that scene with all of the LED lighting. I hope this does really well for them because this type of music, if it catches on, it does really well. Like there's that song Hwasa had with Loco that was really popular for a while. Just I think in general, people like that kind of lounge music, and this kind of has like a very jazzy lounge vibe, but it's not like full jazz. It's more like a band. It's more band music, but I think I can kind of see what Rainbow Bridge's marketing idea for this group is. I don't know if it'll necessarily work, just because it's such a risky thing, but I really hope it works out for them because I think when it comes to K bands, we need a lot more variety. Day Six and The Rose does modern rock, which is great, but we can't have every band doing modern rock. So I like that they're leaning a lot more into the indie rock type vibe. But that's not always successful. So I'm really hoping that this takes off for them. I personally really like it. I would urge you guys to check out more K indie stuff. But when it comes to ONEWE, I don't know. If this album is a full-fledged album, I might even do a listening party for it because I actually like K&D music, and I'm very curious as to what the rest of this album is going to sound like. Don't have much to say else on the video. Like I said, wasn't that impressive. But yeah, I really enjoyed the song. And I'm curious as to what you guys thought about ONEWE's Q. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you guys would like to support us, remember patreon.com/formatherapy is the best way to do so. If you want to support us, you get early access to reactions at the lowest tier, but for the higher tiers, you get live stage variety show drama club reactions. However, supporting us monetarily is completely optional. Please remember that. If you can or you don't want to, we understand. A free way of helping us out is hitting like down below right over there. If you leave a comment, it helps us out with the YouTube search algorithm. So please, that's a free way of supporting us. If you are new, please consider hitting subscribe. Be notified when we upload a new video by hitting the notification bell, and be notified when we upload new videos by Oh no, I already said that. Sorry. There's no edits in this video. Go ahead and check out the playlist over here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.